Hello. Sorry it's taking me so long. I'm still trying to adjust this. So I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch, and anyways, I'm still trying to work out how best to hold the camera for Twitch because last time I held it for 2 hours and got a cramp in my hand. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about seasonal affective disorder because I think to some extent everybody gets a little bit of it. And I live in the Chicagoland area, and from yesterday, which the temperature said 70 something, felt more like 80. I was outside in shorts and a tank top, to today, where I had on 2 pairs of sweatpants, walking my dog, and like a sweater and a hat and gloves. It was pretty shocking to the system. Also, because this weather is very unusual in November, and we've had it for a while. It's even unusual in October. I kept putting off cleaning. I kept saying like, "Oh, okay." I encourage people to do like if you have my dog is here. She will not leave my side for some reason today. Um, but I do encourage people if you know that uh to live life, and this is just in general. Hold on, I'm still trying to figure this out. So I do encourage people in general, like, you know, if it's nice outside and someone invites you to do something fun, or your kid wants to do something fun, go outside and enjoy that. Or even if it's not outside, if there's something fun to be done, or really, just it's not a boring day and there's things going on that could enrich you. I'm not saying like completely just turn your back on your house. Don't do that because that won't lead to positive, mental feelings either. But what I am saying is, I know a lot of people. Actually, I had ran into an old friend recently, and I kind of spur of the moment said, "What are you doing tonight?" I don't know if it was her way of avoiding me, but we did used to be very close. And the last time I had saw her, we were pretty close. I lost touch. It was probably me more losing touch because I changed my phone number. But anyways, so she was like, "I gotta wash my dishes." So that's what I'm talking about. A lot of times as we get older, we kind of prioritize differently, and that's good. It shows adulthood. But also, we can take a break from that to enjoy life. And I have been taking way too much of a break because every day in October that it was warm, I kept thinking, this is going to be the last nice day. This is going to be the last nice day. So what I've got now is this disaster of a room on my hands. And I have been cleaning all day, hence I look like a mess. I did think about putting makeup on and all that. And then I was like, so I did get laundry done and all that kind of stuff. In addition, my son is sick and my mom is sick just because the weather had been crazy. So we were really lucky. At least I felt that we were lucky in Chicago to have such nice weather, like 70s until November in Chicago is unheard of. So I was so happy for that because usually in August, I start getting this like kind of anxious feeling about like, oh no, winter is coming. And I do really, like the first snowfall can be beautiful, but I'm not much of a snow person and I'm not much of a winter person. And it makes me feel like I'm stuck inside. And last year I had the option to go to Puerto Rico to work. And this year, hurricanes destroyed. Actually, they're still having pretty bad tropical storms in the Caribbean. So anyways, that's not an option for me. So I was so happy when it stayed warm as long as it did, but eventually it was going to have to get cold or it would just be really weird. So here we are, winter started. I'm glad it started late, but what do you do? So, um, one of the things I wanted to bring up, I like to recommend people. I've experienced things and I've worked in these situations, but there's people, of course, that are um, a lot more qualified to give advice other than me. And even people that you might not like sometimes I read books that I wouldn't normally read, or I'm not gonna lie, I listen to them on audiobook or audible. Audible. I love Audible. And even if it's not necessarily listen to some of these books to kind of get an understanding of how other people look at things, how other people might be viewing things, how other people might be viewing you. Um, and actually, I did want to make today's original, I guess, I don't know if this is a podcast or a live stream. I wanted to make it I wanted to respond to someone's video about friends, but instead, since I've been putting everything off due to this nice weather, I wanted to talk about when you get stuck in that rut. Sometimes it could be the seasonal affective disorder rut. Even if you're not diagnosed with that, I think a lot of people still kind of feel it inside. I mean, you don't necessarily um, need to go to a doctor for them to tell you that, like, at least some people love the snow, but for me, a lot of people, there's other reasons. Sometimes people get depressed around the holidays. Some people have bad memories of the holidays. Some people don't have any family to celebrate with. Um, all types of reasons. So for me, it was just ever since I could talk, I was like, it's snowing, it's cold. Why do we live here? And so I've never been a big fan of snow. And like I mentioned, it just makes everything 10 times harder. It's like, okay, you got to, and these are little things, but they get annoying when they add up. So, depending on where you work, well, getting your car stuck isn't a little thing. So sometimes it snows so fast here in Chicago. I've been stuck multiple times, and that's not a small thing. So you always have this fear of, like, is my car going to start tomorrow? I got to wake up 20 minutes early and clean off the snow. I have to wear 10 layers of clothes, and then you've got to put them on, put them off. If you have a child, that child loses like 25 pairs of mittens, maybe a boot or two. So becomes no longer snow and it's sludge. It's pretty disgusting. So, anyways, my connection isn't working great. I hope that you can still hear me. I had 3 viewers on Twitter, but what is this? No, I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired. On Twitch, and now I have 1. Now I'll probably have none since they think I'm crazy. But anyways, so I wanted to give some tips and from, excuse me, Jordan Peterson's book. So Jordan Peterson is known a lot for when he first kind of came into the mainstream. There was a video of him talking about not wanting to be forced to use specific pronouns. And his reasoning for that was not that he doesn't respect trans people or he doesn't think they exist or any of that. But when the government comes in and starts using us to telling us to use forced language, and then also saying you're going to go to jail if you don't use that type of language, this was his argument, because he's done a lot of studying of World War II and the Nazis, and forced speech is and even though it might seem small, like what trans, well, it was smaller at the time that he brought it up. The trans population is such a small amount of people. Like, how big of a deal could it be? But it is that forced speech that once you start forcing people to speak a certain way and use certain words, that it opens up a door. It's like Pandora's box. And that was his point. And people didn't listen to that. His advices and his books for anybody. It could be for, somebody that really has a lot of depression that they have to get out of. It could just be for somebody that wants to do better in life. It could be, for someone that kind of just, I guess, is in a rut, so to speak. But he really does talk about a lot of great things that I sure hope people wouldn't miss out on because they think that this man is transphobic. He's actually quite liberal. He's a very liberal person. It's so odd for him to be suddenly thrown in with conservatives. But his books have helped me a lot. I have read them multiple times. His very first book, Maps of Meaning, is a lot deeper and more confusing. Um, uh, the second book, which I'm talking about today, where he mentions to clean your room, that kind of became a what do you say, meme. Um, but it's true. It's kind of like don't throw rocks when you live in a glass house. If you don't know what that means, is basically don't go accusing other people of certain things or whatever if you yourself have sins. Or like I think in the Bible it was something like, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. We all have problems. We all have things. Get your stuff in order in your own house. This is your house before you go making things. And my mother's singing in the background, but anyways, before you go criticizing others. And this is actually good for anybody, though. I've seen people, I used to, when I was in college, take odd jobs about the singing. My mom and my son were watching The Lion King. Um, so, anyways, I lost my train of thought hearing them sing. Oh, I used to take a lot of odd jobs, and it's surprising what you'll see where people will be really organized at work, and then they need a maid to come. I don't know if you'd call me a maid or whatever you want to call me, but they needed, a person to come in and clean and organize their house. I actually kind of became this way after I bought my house. I was pretty organized at work and everything, but since I was renting out rooms to foreign exchange students, it just seemed like the house was constantly messy. And then also, if you add having a child, and the foreign exchange students weren't children, but they basically treated the house like it was my responsibility to clean up after them. Um, so, anyways, anybody can have trouble kind of like knowing where to start. Where do you start cleaning up? So, uh, Dr. Peterson recommends in his book kind of just start like where you are. Um, and so for me today, I'm going to start in my bedroom because it's become a giant mess. Because, like I said, I kept putting it off, thinking for the past, like, I don't know, 30 days or more that we were going to have one last nice day. And I'm like, it's going to be the last one. I'm going to enjoy it. So another thing is if you have a pet, I have spent significantly more time cleaning since I got my dog. She makes a mess out of everything. In fact, I just had to fix my vacuum cleaner like 3 or 4 times, and now she wants to go hear this singing. Give me 1 second. I'm going to let do you want to? I don't know what she wants. So anyways, I am going to take you guys on a little tour of where I would start cleaning, and maybe you guys can agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts. I think right now I have no viewers, so that's cool because my room is embarrassing. So what I'm going to take you to, let's see. You want to go out in the hallway, Pixie? Okay. So I'm going to unplug this computer and okay. So this is my bed, and I would recommend, I'm trying to see. let's see the best place to put this. I would honestly recommend, maybe that's a little low here, starting at the bed. So I washed all my sheets earlier and now I'm going to put them on the bed. I think it's really important to have a nice clean bed to, um, I'll show you my dog. So she's over here like, yeah, this is my house. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? Right, Pixie? Um, so anyways, I'm gonna start at the bed. I do probably wash my sheets maybe more than I should, and don't do enough for the rest of the room. But that's because sometimes this dog sleeps with me, and I think the dogs really don't belong in beds. But um, my mom bought the dog for my son, so what am I gonna do? You're here, right? And she seems to have taken to me. She follows me around the house like my shadow. So alrighty, so I have clean clothes on the bed right now. So I'm going to take everything off so I can, the clean stuff. I'm just going to throw it over here. Some people just get so overwhelmed. I've talked to a lot of people, especially teenagers, that they just get so overwhelmed, especially, which is understandable. I'm trying to, let me move these lights. I don't know if that made it better or worse. Because I mentioned I worked with kids psych. A lot of teenagers would say, they're overwhelmed, especially now with the amount of things we have and fast fashion. The clothes it can get out of control. And also when you're a teen, sometimes you're growing different sizes. So it is good to try and go through that once in a while, but it's like sometimes if you let it get out of control for even like a month, like I have, things can get pretty messy depending on the size of your room. So what I recommend is pick a place to start. I've always picked the bed. I like to make the bed first. It makes the room just look nicer right away, and at least you have a comfortable place to sleep. What do you want, Pixie? What do you want? What do you want? So, Pixie, you're going to have to get up. It's so fun to clean when you have a dog sitting on all your stuff. So anyways, I'm just going to take everything off the bed. And by the way, so I gave my dog these full spectrum hemp calming support. So it says 3 milligram plant-based cannabinoid soft chews. So I don't know if the hemp is different than the CBD. I've tried both and she doesn't calm down. I've looked on Amazon and got like the highest one. This dog is calm all day. Like, I'm her support person because, man, that lighting's bad. Okay, Pixie, we're making the bed now. Pixie, can you move? Move. If you have, which I don't have with me right now, I usually have a small vacuum, a dirt double handheld, and I usually vacuum the bed just because my dog is laying on the bed right now. Pixie, get off. Get off the bed, Pixie. Get off the bed, Pixie. Get off the bed, Pixie. Get off the bed. You can come back on. She doesn't like it when I take her off the bed. Oh, man, these things are really bright. Okay, hopefully that helped a little bit. This is inside out. I also like to put, a few layers of sheets on my bed. Again, because of the dog. She's like ready to get back up there. So if you're a really anxious person and it's hard for you to get anything done, just like congratulate yourself over the small things. So you can have a really hard time cleaning or has things piled up. This is suggested by Jordan Peterson as well in his book, is, have a list of things you try to get done and then reward yourself when you do it. Something small, like maybe I'll have a chocolate chip cookie, or whatever your favorite thing might be. Now the dog wants to leave because I kicked her off the bed. Okay, Pixie, leave. Yay, hopefully there should be less whining now. Another stressful thing, I know I'm not in the camera space, is due to COVID, a lot of people did have to make living arrangements either back with their parents or rent a room out, which I wouldn't suggest, or live with a brother or a sister or a cousin or a nephew, or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, in a lot of cultures, it's expected. I think it's great for kids. When I was a kid growing up, my mom moved home with her parents because my parents got divorced. And honestly, for me, I really enjoyed living, but I think it's great for kids to be raised with their grandparents, so don't feel bad. Okay, that's not what this is about, but thanks. Anyways, alrighty, moving right along. So, then you can put your pillows back on. And I know this seems like super simple, but sometimes when you get in a rut, it can be really hard to, like I said, start cleaning again. Or sometimes when you not even have a rut, but just have, what I was getting at with people have had to move home or share rooms is you're in a small space. And a lot of times it can be really hard to manage that small space. I actually moved back here to my mom's house after I had lived with my grandfather for a year when he was passing away, and then I decided to sell my own house because the neighborhood wasn't so good anymore. It was actually going downhill pretty fast. So I almost my grandpa's house, every time they got divorced, they would just put all their stuff in the basement. So I did get to sell a lot of it online, but I moved into this single room with like a giant house full of stuff. So it can be really hard moving into downsizing, basically, if you're used to living in a pretty big house and having storage. So you might want to check out some of the channels stuff and live on just what they need. And that's it. And honestly, the older I get, the better that seems, because stuff it needs care, and it's kind of comes down to, well, where do you want to spend your time? Like I mentioned earlier, with the um, there we go. So, yay, one thing's off the list. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, um, cleaning takes time. Um, as you get older, you have to decide what you want to spend your time with. Would you rather spend your time dusting your stuff and organizing your stuff? I mean, to an extent, yes. Women need a certain amount of clothes, men need clothes, we need hair products. But it's like, a lot of people collect things, which is awesome. But I guess it's just time management. Where do you want to spend your time? One really cool thing today is I used to get attached to things, and now you have the opportunity to take videos of these things you might get attached to. Like, for example, uh, here's a sweater of a very close um, friend of mine who was beaten to death by my house that I moved from. It was right by the train station, and so the sweater he left at Thanksgiving. I always invite all my friends over for Thanksgiving, and so I kind of, it's nice to have something that's left over. But on the other hand, obviously it's not going to last forever. So it's nice to have, you can always just take pictures. That's what I started doing. I had a ton of pictures when I moved out of when I moved everything out of my grandfather's house after he passed away. Most of my family didn't offer to help. And there were so many things that it's like, oh, this has this memory or this has that memory. And I ended up it's like I couldn't keep all of it. Nor did I really have anywhere to put it. And it's like, what am I going to do once a year? Kind of just look at this stuff. My mouth gets dry because the heat's on for the first time today. So, yeah, one thing you can do if you have a lot of memories or items that remind you of a certain time is you can now photograph them, take movies of them, and one of my favorite places to store things for free is Shutterfly. If you're a photographer, it's a great place to, keep your things. And another cool thing is a lot of libraries are now starting to have a lot more things besides books. For example, my son and I got into art through the library because they actually give you the whole easel, the paintbrushes, all of it. Then you paint I think you have it for 2 weeks, and then you bring it back. So you don't have to worry about storing it. So just things like that. You can check out what you need, see what's at the library, what you can borrow. I don't believe in this kind of dystopian future where people say you will own nothing and be happy. I don't think that's the truth at all, because sometimes there's some little things that it would just be like too annoying to go to the library for. A tool set, for example. I remember I heard a TED talk with a woman saying, why does everybody in town need a screwdriver? And it's like, seriously, you want me to go rent a screwdriver? I mean, I guess if you don't do that much work on like a regular basis. But today, my vacuum broke due to my dog tearing stuff to shreds, and I had to take it apart. And if I had to go rent a screwdriver, that would have been a giant pain in the ass. So my point is, try to keep your things organized. Try not to buy doubles if you can. Um, Try to keep them all in an area where you can, know, like, this is electronics, this is this, this is this. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but it's a good place to start. I honestly don't think I'm going to get that far in this video today, but I was just kind of showing an example of one thing to do to start kind of managing the winter blues. Because I know I personally have a lot of friends that kind of have a hard time cleaning. Sometimes some other helpful things are, if you do have, a lot of people don't have friends that they see too often, but this particular friend, we were nurses together, and he'd be like, hey, I'll take you out for dinner if you can just hang out while I'm cleaning. Sure. Also, I know a lot of YouTubers and other vloggers make really long vlogs for that reason. So it's kind of like you have that friend talking in the background, and it just makes cleaning go by faster. One thing I really like to do is listen to upbeat music, the music that kind of gets you going. So, that way you have a little bit more, what's the word? I don't know, it gives you energy. And you're not thinking so much about, like, oh God, this is taking forever. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was, make sure while you're cleaning that you're cleaning while you're cleaning, because cleaning certain things. So, for example, if I was washing the floor right now, if I was scrubbing the floor, you have to almost clean up from cleaning. So you want to clean the cleanup as you go along, because if you don't, you'll have like a wet mop left behind, a vacuum cleaner with cords spread across the floor, pine salt here, just stuff everywhere. So try to make sure each individual space is clean as you move. That would be one other thing. Another thing I like, I've mentioned audiobooks multiple times. So you can get your reading done, or not reading, but you're listening to the books. And there's so many interesting audiobooks. On Audible, you can get a sample, and I would definitely recommend that. Let me think. Other things that will help you through cleaning. Just doing one small space at a time. Like, honestly, if you're not feeling well and all you can do is make your bed, then so be it. Maybe while you're in bed, make a list of other things that you see that need to get cleaned, and they will. So maybe make a list Monday, or once your bed is clean, you put new sheets on it. Keep that thing. Keep making your bed every day. Like I just did, I put three or four extra sheets on. I like to take one sheet off every day of the week. Just so I feel like my bed is extra clean when I get into it. And then on the weekends, I'll do the laundry. So if you like to feel like your bed is like super clean every day, you can do that, especially if you live, like when I lived in Puerto Rico, the sand would just get everywhere. And so it would be like, oh, nice clean bed. It would last for a day, and we didn't have any laundry in the house. So, yeah, those are just some of my pointers. I wanted to also check in and mention why I had not been online when I promised I was going to try and make a video every day. And it was just because we had beautiful weather this week, and then we didn't, starting today. And so, yeah, a lot of people got sick. Slash allergies, because we just had allergies floating around. Another thing that'll kind of keep you organized, I'm going to flip this around. So there is this. So Home Depot slash Office Depot is going out of business, and they have those cool little hang up things that I just showed you. And I love that. I've had that thing for about 4 or 5 years, and like it's prevented a lot of losing pieces of paper. It's there's different space like spots for it. It's great. I think at the time I bought it, they were like $10 a piece, but they might be like $2 now because I think they're closing pretty soon. So you might want to get on that. You don't have to spend excessive amounts. The dog is back at my door. You don't have to spend excessive amounts of money. But anyways, it has actually been kind of a long day today. So I just wanted to check in and give you some hints. Get ahead of the seasonal affective disorder before it gets you, if you can. Keeping your room clean, keeping your house clean will definitely make you wake up every day feeling better. And so I just wanted to put that out there, that when your space is clean and organized, your brain will feel like that. And then it'll go to other parts of your life. So anyways, check out Jordan Petersons 12 Rules for Life on Audible. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form. I just really like Audible. Or just listen to some of his talks online for free on YouTube. I believe he's still on YouTube. I know they kicked him off a ton of platforms, but he has great advice. And I said, you don't have to be like lonely or depressed. And for some reason, I've heard in the media that they'll call it advice from young men, and it's definitely just advice. It's not geared towards men or women. But okay, well, have a good night. Thanks.